G'day folks, this is Raymond Foster. I hope you're doing great. I run the Australian White Wellbeing Facebook group, and an awesome individual, a hero of Western kind, Baron White, posted this in our group. Open quote. Been posting up white positive stickers around Ringwood, Melbourne for white well-being. No white guilt here. Close quote. As you can see here, he put up a picture of some of his activism with the statement, white wellbeing activism. Down the bottom, visit nowhiteguilt.org. Now, this post in my group, Australian White Wellbeing group on Facebook, was shared by this individual, Adam Days, to the Antifa Australia group, and he said about this, open quote, anyone around Ringwood know about this? Close quote. So, trying to stir up some trouble here, this individual, trying to share our activism to Antifa Australia. I'm sure if it was, for example, hypothetically Aboriginal well-being, a group promoting the well-being of Aboriginal people, they wouldn't be sharing it to Antifa and trying to have a go. But because we are white, they want to try to target us. So, the legend himself, Baron White, jumps on and says, what's wrong with my white positive stickers? Any white? I jump on and reply to him saying, nothing. It's wrong to oppose white well-being. And before I said that, I said, yeah. And it's awesome to see such a positive message of love getting around. Racial discrimination is always wrong, even if the victim is white. Antifa Australia. Okay, the page itself replies and jumps in, tries to smear Jason with anti-white slurs, as you can see here in their comment, and go on to try to belittle, downplay the disgusting effects, the abuse, the trauma of white guilt. Okay. Trying to say it's a dog whistle. Okay. An implication here, trying to stereotype. So, as I always like to point out, the number one thing, the only thing anti-whites have that actually is productive for them to promote anti-whiteism and white erasure is to stereotype us as baddies and then try to play themselves off as good guys and then justify and say, oh, white erasure is therefore good because we're getting rid of the baddies, the bad white people. Okay, that's the only thing they have. That's their only MO. That's all they got. Okay, so you can see here how this anti-white has tried to do this to me and to Baron White, this legend, a hero of Western kind. Okay, the implication here is saying, by trying to make out that it's a dog whistle, which is an anti-white term, which means saying something under the radar because it actually means something really mean and terrible because you're a monster, you're a demon, because you're white. So in the anti-white narrative, it's used again, as I said, it's the only thing the anti-whites do, it's their only MO, it's all they do. The only thing they have that actually works is productive for them, to try to paint us as bad guys in the anti-white narrative. So my response to this is simply, he's definitely not an N-word, alright? So you're just using a racial slur at this point. Not a good look to promote racial slurs and discrimination. I say, white guilt is a form of racial abuse which tries to justify discrimination on the basis of race. To judge an individual on the basis of their race and to say they should be guilty for just being born a certain way is disgusting bigotry that no decent person can tolerate. Why do you think it's okay to discriminate on the basis of someone's race? Rather abhorrent. Adam Days replies, okay, after like 50 minutes, after an hour, Antifa still has nothing to say. But Adam jumps back in and says, just weak white men hiding behind a cowardly lexicon. The self-loathing they must feel being unable to express honestly the contents of their hearts. So, as I always point out, where's the implication there? Where's the smear? It's the only thing anti-whites try to do. It's what they always try to do. As you can see here, it says, the self-loathing they must feel, being unable to express honestly the contents of their hearts. So it's the same type of implication of the dog whistle, that we're secretly evil, but we're just pretending not to be. So that is them trying to paint us as the bad guys in the anti-white narrative. And usually they're used to folk coming at them and trying to be like, oh, you're a stupid Antifa dog, or, some immature response, or something crude that makes it even easier to stereotype them and paint them as the baddie in the anti-white narrative. So, because anti-whites, this is all they have, alright, don't give them what they want, and instead say something like this. You were just being anti-white and promoting racial discrimination. We are merely advocating our folks' well-being. So if you're opposed to the well-being of a people on the basis of their race, who is the bad guy? Alright? So you just leave that question open for not just for them to think about, but for any onlooker to think about. Okay? So for anybody observing this conversation, they see that we're advocates of white well-being. We promote well-being. So we promote care, love. And we're being attacked and targeted for promoting care and love. Because we are white. We are being attacked and targeted by folk who are explicitly attacking us on the basis of our race and trying to discriminate us and throwing anti-white racial slurs at us to try to paint us as the bad guy in the anti-white narrative so they can justify white erasure and anti-white abuse, like white guilt. To conclude, the anti-whites have one tool, one weapon which they use to promote all of anti-whiteism, all white erasure, everything. It's just a paintbrush. They all have a paintbrush, an anti-white paintbrush, metaphorically, which they use to paint people as the baddie in the anti-white narrative and to paint the white race as evil. Okay? So it's the only thing they have. They're painting us as evil. So if you're in the anti-white narrative, you become an easel for them to paint, a character for them to paint in their story and to write into their story. Whereas if you go free of the anti-white narrative, that's the only thing they ever try to do, their only tactic, and then it can never work. So essentially we become some type of paint stripping liquid by going free, by becoming pristine. Okay? We're immune to paint, the anti-white paint. It just evaporates off of us. Okay? We're too acidic with white well-being for the paint to actually sit on us. It just evaporates, eats away. And we still look like heroes of Western kind. Not only in our eyes, not only in our victimizers' eyes, in the eyes of anti-whites, those who are actually trying to oppose us, they start to see themselves as, oh, we look really bad, and they're looking like heroes. And the more we try to attack them, the more they point it out that we are attacking them on the basis of their race. We look worse and worse, and they look better and better. So even the anti-whites, I guarantee Antifa Australia, whoever runs this group, is intellectual enough, smart enough to understand something, understand on that level to some degree. And if not, they feel it subconsciously, whether they like it or not. Because we work with subconscious triggers, which every person has been conditioned with. And then as well, everyone else in the world sees that as well. And the only way they've ever been able to have any effect, any success promoting anti-whiteism, pushing white erasure, is by using that one paintbrush, that one tool, and actually painting people. But people have submitted, gone into the anti-white narrative and become an easel to be painted, a character to be written into their story. If you want to learn more about white well-being, visit nowhiteguilt.org. Check it out. I suggest you get the book Go Free. Alright? Learn about going free of the anti-white narrative, what that means, how to do it in your day-to-day life. Or, if you don't want to go through any of that hassle, just hit me up. Leave me a comment, a question, whatever. Send me a message. So, if you want to learn more, there's resources for you to study yourself, or you can ask folk like myself. There's other folk as well. You can look around, you can ask, and we can give you some pointers here and there. Thank you. Take it easy. See you next time.